What's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, non-basketball topic, have nothing to do with basketball. If this is a basketball thing for you, I don't think you would click on that. But, nevertheless, I'm here to talk about, loosely talk about what I understand to be Nicki Minaj being banned from Twitter, or suspended, more so, suspended, for speaking her piece on why she's apprehensive about taking the vaccine right now. Now, she did throw some other things in there that could have got her in some trouble too. She was talking about some political stuff that I didn't read, so I don't want to reiterate. Maybe that is the basis for why they suspended her. But from where I'm sitting, it looks like it is because she kind of deviated away from the plan in regards to her image. Because really, they don't pay her to think for herself. They don't pay her to influence people to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. They pay her to push the agenda that she's always pushed, which is sell sex to young girls and a bunch of other stuff that seems superficial to me and how I was raised. I don't knock her for that. I listen to some of her music. I'm not one of those people that think I'm greater than thou, so I can't listen to stuff that's on a different frequency than maybe I think. But at the same time, when I see someone step up and speak something that's outside of that narrative from inside the machine, and I see them get their butts kicked for it like she is, I feel it's a good, reasonable thing to talk about, or at least sound off on it and lend an opinion. I am in support of anyone who makes a decision that they've thought through. As it pertains to this vaccine. I am. If you've thought it through and you know what you're dealing with, and you come to the conclusion that you're going to take it or not take it, I don't have a problem with you, man. I don't. I do understand that we are all responsible for one another. The rules of the game in regards to this COVID thing is that we gotta, think about someone else other than ourselves at all time, and we are weaponizing this thing if we walk around and without symptoms, etc., etc. We know what it is. We know what we're dealing with. We also have our skepticisms according to each and every individual. You know who you are. If you don't believe it exists, whatever. My thing is this. With all of the truth that I understand it to be, the proof is in the pudding. There are people who have taken the vaccine, whatever vaccine they took, there are a number of ones, and they've still gotten COVID. Now, is the vaccine a you can't ever get COVID for taking it type thing? Not to my knowledge. It doesn't have 100%, eradication rate or anything like that. That's not what it is. It's more so just a preliminary version of what it is that they've come up with to attack this thing. The version of the thing that they can attack. That's my understanding. So I don't see any harm in people who may be skeptical about who's given us what and why they are able to come up with a vaccine sooner than maybe was intended when the initial reports about what this is and how long it would take became knowledgeable to the rest of us. I was told 2 years. 2 years it would take for them to get a good, solid vaccine for this thing. And we're almost there. The thing about it is I can say whatever I got to say about this on my camera. I'm not affecting 5 million people's minds in doing so. And the problem with Nicki Minaj is, and this is a very real thing, she has 5 million plus people that are going to follow her at any given moment, which means it's probably more like 7, because those 5 million people are going to share that information with people who are not following her. She can influence the sway of power with her words as it pertains to this thing. And not only just the sway of words as it pertains to all humans, but particularly the demographic that we've discussed. Young girls, of whom are following her, and 20-something women who've grown with her. They want, those in power, want her to play along with what they have going on in regards to everything that matters in 2021. Just like they want all the celebrities to go along with it. Whatever the agenda is, I'm not going to name it out because I don't actually know. I got my understanding of what it could be, but at the end of the day, they're trying to herd the masses a certain direction, and Nicki is threatening that process with her voice. And that's what it is, man. She's essentially telling people, and she might have said some things in regards to the vaccine that may not have been proven true according to those who responded to her. I read that she said somebody she knew had swelling in their testicles or something in regards to taking the vaccine, still getting sick. That was disputed by those who are in position to say that it ain't true. I'm just here to report that. I don't know what to say about that. That might have gotten her suspended. So there are a lot of things that could have, within this flurry of things, gotten her suspended from Twitter. However, what we see is that she spoke independently about the vaccine to 5 million people. And we know that the vaccine business is a big business. And we understand that a lot of people put a lot of effort into making those things safe for us so that we would all take it, so that we would all have our lives saved. So you got two facets of people, the ones who have good intentions and the money makers that control the machine that I'm speaking about. They are both probably looking at her like, yo, could you not? Seriously, can you not? And from that perspective, especially those who intend to do well, those who put in the long hours to making these vaccines, those who poured all their money into making these vaccines, what have you, I get it. We do want to save lives. But we got to let people be who they're going to be if we're going to call ourselves a diplomatic country. We can't straddle that line between forcing people to do stuff that they genuinely do not want to do to save themselves and not. For the betterment of others, we must come to some medium, or otherwise it's just going to get more and more frustrating. I think those who are in position to push the narrative for pay are not patient. And that's what's, in my opinion, is harming the situation. You can't force everybody to take something. Some people are just not going to take stuff just because you're telling them not to take it, because you're telling them to take it. They're not going to take it. You got to give time for those people to come around. And maybe you don't feel you have that time based on the rules of the circumstances from which we're dealing with, but you're not going to get 100% cooperation on anything, not even saving everyone's life. And you got to work that into the psychological studies of how best to get the vaccine to each and every human being. If you don't have that worked into your equation, you're not thinking properly. So that's what I would say to the machine. Relax, you're still going to make your damn money. Regulations are making it so that people are being forced into taking it anyway in order to go to work, in some cases, definitely go to bars and certain things and have jobs. It's become mandatory. So those who want to not take it, eventually they're all going to have to take it. And we know that. So let people like Nicki Minaj, with her level of understanding, speak on her doubts about it, because she shares the views of millions of people who may or may not have already taken it just because they were forced to, or just because they have their skepticism about the entire situation. Got to leave room for that. If you're not leaving room for that, you're creating conflicts in situations where they otherwise don't have to be. Forcing people to do anything is going to bring forth resistance. Anytime you force, I'm going to force you. Nah, I don't care if you're forcing me to take up millions and millions of dollars. There's going to be somebody who ain't going to appreciate that. Who going to come up with a reason that they made up in their mind for why that money is taking away their rights. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There's nothing keeping people from being defiant if they're defiant by nature. You got to allow for that. And as far as Nicki Minaj controlling the masses with her voice and telling people to consider not taking the vaccine and all of that, what you want to do? When you put people in positions to have massive amounts of people paying attention to them at once, when you put them in the machine and they come out a star, because this is exactly what it is. You understand that if you ain't schooled them on certain things and provide them certain contexts as to why your agenda is important to follow, they may deviate from that, even when their intention is not to. You can teach her how to be the super duper star and all that, but if you ain't taught her the social stuff that makes her voice most responsible, then don't expect her to use her voice most responsibly as accordance to your opinion about what's responsible. As far as I'm concerned, I agree with everything she said that I was able to gather from the specifics of being skeptical about taking the vax now. Not overall. Neither me nor she is telling you not to take it. I'm telling you that I'm waiting for the 2-year period, because that's what makes sense to me. I'm not taking the first thing you give me. I know better. I've been on this earth for 37 years. You never take the first thing nobody give you. You wait until they perfect it. That goes for PlayStations, phones, everything. You don't ever want the first one, because the first one is essentially given to a guinea pig that they're trying to figure out whether or not the thing works or not. So giving it to that person, I'm not talking about just the vaccine. I'm talking about anything. The first ones who get it, are the guinea pigs. And if it doesn't work, they go back. Oh, that didn't work for him. His face dried up, and we definitely can go back and fix it. I ain't gonna let y'all guinea pig me, especially as it pertains to something that's supposed to save all of us. Because you best believe if it's supposed to save all of us, then you have no problem with collateral damage for few of us dying. I know that. I don't need nobody to explain that to me. I know the nature of man in that regard. If we're talking about saving everybody, you're gonna let a few die. It's just how it works. So in understanding that, I'm not gonna be the first one taking your vaccine. It doesn't mean I'm not awaiting a great vaccine that works. I want one. I want to save my life, and I don't want to weaponize my body against anyone else. But don't sit up here and tell her and me that I can't share my skepticism when you have proven yourself to be untrustworthy in some cases, particularly as it pertains to certain things that you give us. So, I think that's reasonable. I think everybody thinks that's reasonable. Now, should there be some urgency to push this thing along and take the vaccine for some of us, particularly some of us who don't have healthy members of our family who may be more susceptible to taking losses as it pertains to being affected? Yes. If I lived with like 85-year-old grandmother for whom I don't have, then I would have already taken it because it's worth sacrificing any risk to make sure that she's safe. But because I live alone and can isolate myself and wear my mask and wash my hands and do all the things that I need to do to keep myself as far away from others as possible, as much as possible, I'm going to continue on the path that I'm on. Because if I take something that makes me more sick in the name of not trying to get sick when I ain't been sick, that doesn't make any sense to me. And the risk of that being the case keeps me from moving forward. Now, if you decide to make another decision, a different decision that's specific for your lifestyle, I encourage you to make the one that's best for you. But to tell me not to make the one that's best for me is irresponsible of you. And telling me not to think for myself is corrupt of you. Telling Nicki not to think for herself is corrupt of you. And while she may be wrapped up in different contracts that would ensure that she's being paid handsomely for not thinking, we are not. And you know that. So unless you're going to give me the check that you're giving her to not think, for which I wouldn't take anyway, go to hell. Twitter or anybody else that wants to censor this woman for having the same damn opinion I got about the damn thing. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you things are or not what I don't understand it to be, because I'm not going to get up here and say, oh, somebody's body malfunctions. I don't know that. And I'm not going to take that from somebody I know and share that to the masses, especially when I got 5 million people listening to me. Not the way to go. You got to make sure you fact check everything when you have that many people paying attention to you. So that's just part of the game, for which I know Nicki understands. But as far as I'm concerned, she didn't say nothing wrong in that particular space. So if she were suspended for that, I don't like it. If she were suspended for other things, maybe inaccuracies and stuff like that, I don't have a problem with it. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I think there's a lot of ways to look at it, and all of them are okay. But one thing that we cannot do is lose sight of what it is that others are trying to do. Not everybody's trying to save everybody. Some people are just trying to make billions and billions of dollars, and they could give a shit, excuse my language, who they save. As long as everybody's taking the injection. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying to you? It's like some people really don't want to save everybody, but are pushing this narrative that we should take this thing because it aligns their pockets and their associates' pockets. They could care less if we die today, so long as they get that money, so long as they get that number recorded that that person took that particular product. That works in my favor in the negotiations or whatever. The big business works that way too, even if it's not something you're paying for. How many took it? Was it ours? For sure. Now, next time we go into business with somebody else, we can say, oh, the vaccine, we got 4 of them out here. Ours was the one that sold the most, or rather it was the one that people took the most. We're the most reliable medication company in the world because we saved the world with our vax. I'm telling you, they don't care if you pay for it or not. They're happy that you're taking it just to be taking it. They can make money off of the notion that you're taking it now or later. A lot more than they're probably making off of you paying for it if you were to. Remember, everybody needs this. That's all. That's all. That's literally all I have to say. There's nothing else to say. You know? But as far as is anything else, I just encourage people to be healthy, man. Make good decisions about your life. Understand that you do weaponize this thing if it indeed exists. Don't be wrong about COVID. That's always been my point of view. Don't be wrong about it. You can sit up here and die on your heel, but understand if you are infected and this thing is real, you can give it to somebody else without actually knowing you have it. That is something to keep in your mind when you listen to me, Nicki, anybody else. Keep that in your mind. Don't let that point of view fool you into making decisions that don't bring about the results that you want. You don't want to kill your grandma. So keep that in mind. My name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.